All ready?
All right. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting on May 2nd. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have meeting minutes to approve.
I move to approve the regular session meeting minutes of January 20th, March 14th, January 25th, and the executive session minutes of March 30th, 2016, and to approve the executive session meeting minutes of April 6th, not to be released. Now, oh, I see, you've got two separate motions here. I see, okay. I'm sorry, Chris?
No, it's okay. Go on.
I was getting a little confused because there are A to H listed above, but there weren't that many in the
That's
motion.
right.
But
I
there's
was
a
too.
couple more on the bottom.
Yep.
So. Okay, so do you
Second.
second? Okay.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
I move to approve the executive session minutes of January 25th and March 14th and April 12th, 2016, not to be released.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Abstain? Okay. Consider choosing A&P Blackstone Energy Scholarship recipients. So, go ahead. I was gonna say, I've been able to glance through them, but I don't know if you want me to, select the recipients, or, I don't know. I think, Diane, there was a timing issue, right, with, if we didn't make an,
If the names aren't chosen by the 6th, the recipients won't be recognized at the awards dinner or the awards night, nor will it be in the graduation.
So the 6th is the last day? Okay,
Just-
so I'd like to suggest then, Mr. Chairman, if you want to review them and choose who you think the recipient should be, and we can officially vote them before the annual town meeting on Friday.
does that work?
That works for me.
I'm fine with that as well.
Okay. Solves that problem. Okay.
So we'll bypass that motion, right?
Consider approving junk licenses.
All right, so, let's see, do we need people here for this one? Because it doesn't look like we have anybody here, but maybe not. Okay, so I move to approve the renewal of annual junk licenses for Bob White, 50 Cape Road, David Lowell, I bet Jane would like us to say no, 4 Main Street, Michael Smith, 188 Providence Street, pending return of positive routing slips.
Second.
Discussion?
So these are all, yeah, they're all renewals. So these are all operating business that have already been doing this for God knows how long.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Still
10
have
minutes
time
before we
on
can do that
that.
one, right?
Yep.
Might as well go on the police station, huh?
Yep. Consider establishing new police station building committee.
All right, I move to establish a seven-member new police station building committee with terms to expire upon project completion.
Second.
Now, we tossed around that 7 number on Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I recall. I'm just trying to remember where we got that.
Yeah.
We did talk about it Saturday,
We
right?
did, yeah, that's a standard number for
Yeah.
committees, so I think that's,
I think that's pretty good.
One of the thoughts I had was, and I'm not sure what you guys think, but instead of just saying it's a 7-member committee, should we think about having set numbers of people from, say, you could do 2 members of the police department, a finance committee member is part of that committee.
So you want to specify
You know,
composition?
That's what I was thinking about, but I wasn't sure exactly how we would want to set that. Or if we even want to.
It's a good point.
Well, in my opinion, I don't think that it's needed, and the reason being, although it would be, there would be value added, certainly if we had somebody from the police department. However, my expectation of any building committee would be that they would be soliciting input from the chief and, or other members assigned by the chief to consult on the design of a police station. So I'm not really worked up if I mandate that somebody from the police station is on there, because it is the responsibility of the building committee to do their due diligence anyways. And that also applies for the finance committee as well. I mean, I would love it to have somebody from the finance committee, but I don't think that we need to mandate it, in my opinion.
Well, so the CPC is built that way.
The land use committee is,
And I'll tell you, the only thing that makes me think it is important is because then, in order to have a quorum, you gotta have people from these separate committees involved. And I think it'd be fabulous to have at least one person from FinCom, one person from the police department, whoever that is. And maybe one person from master planning. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there.
do you know how the library building committee is set up? Did they have set parameters?
I don't think so, not from what I remember. 'Cause I don't think anybody who's on it is on another committee.
I think
from what I remember.
Amy is one of the, is a trustee on
Trustee,
there.
right.
So let's, so it's kind of like a midpoint. What we could do is we could make a recommendation that we think would be very good if it was composed that way, but let them make their own decisions on it, right? Because we'll have to get a core group, we'll have to get 4 people to start to make any kind of decisions, right? To have a quorum.
I'm not sure that you want to have employees as part of your committee. So you might want to have them as liaisons to the committee in an advisory capacity, members from the police department who are specific to the project. One
But if they
person
live
has
in
been
town, though.
assigned. Right, but
I actually agree with Kim. I think that, again, it's the responsibility of the building committee to ensure that they're constructing this station in compliance of the DPH and as well as meeting the needs of the chief's requirements. So the police department is certainly going to have significant input into this, and I would leave it up to the chief to determine who he wants to assign, if it be himself or anybody else within the department,
To interface with the committee.
to interface with the committee. And
Okay, I'm okay with that, yeah. Okay.
And the other thing is, we can set up the committee, and then, as we have interest, decide from there, if there's too many people interested from a certain group, then we can
couldn't you do
put who we want on the committee.
FinCom, capital planning, or master plan, and then do so many members at large? And it covers both bases. If you definitely want to have somebody on there from FinCom, then you could specify that, 2 members from FinCom.
Well, I think the more I think about it, the more I think a midpoint would be good. Maybe we just say, look, we'd like to see, this is what we'd like to see, but don't mandate it, because I'm just afraid, see, the only thing that bothers me about on on mandating it side is then you get the whole problem where we already battle enough sometimes getting volunteers, right? So you take them where you can get them, right? Because we're not overrun by them. And so then if we didn't happen to have the right, it's just gonna make it all the harder if we don't have the right composition that we specify.
I'm sorry, Ms. Schofield, you're leaning back in that chair like it's a lazy boy, and I'm waiting for you to flip over. I'm so sorry.
Take bets on how much farther back you go.
See, now it's gonna
Sorry.
now it's gonna happen. So, okay, so I think I'm in favor of just forming it with composition recommendations, if that's okay with you, Mr. Real.
Mike, did you have a?
I was just gonna say that I would definitely be willing to serve on that committee.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
And I think you'd be a great addition. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burke.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
What are we at here? 6:41.
All right, so that's, let's see. Chris, you did second that, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we got 5 minutes, huh?
I can take it.
Sure.
I'm gonna do 10.
I was just gonna say 10.
I'm sorry, what did you say, we're on 10?
Yep.
You want to read it?
Consider recommendation from town accountant interview group.
Okay, so we had a panel that consisted of myself, the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, the chairman of the FinCom, the interim treasurer collector, the interim town accountant and the treasurer collector. We had a panel, we interviewed 4 candidates. We do have a recommendation from that committee about one candidate that we think we'd like to make an offer to. But before we moved in that direction, I wanted to know if the board wanted to meet the candidate, meet the top 2 candidates, what level of involvement do you want to have with this appointment? You obviously will have to set a wage rate, and my thoughts are, if you want to see the top 2, I'll bring them both in next week. If you want to see just the top candidate, I'll bring that person in next week and you can speak to them then. I need to be able to make a conditional offer in order to begin the background checks.
Okay, so if I could start. My 2 cents worth in that is I have all the confidence and faith in the world in the group that you mentioned interviewed them. And as far as I'm concerned, if it's somebody that you guys have picked and you like them and they'll work well, I don't see why we need to further mess with that process. We got plenty else to do.
Great. So I will contact the first person, have them sign a waiver that allows me to begin a background check, and I will try to get that candidate here for the next Monday's meeting. You can,
So you're assuming that we all agreed to that?
oh, well, that's what I would do.
Well, you guys were all nodding your heads.
Well, I know I agree, because I was
I'm in
there.
agreement, I just wanted to
That's what I
go
would
on record as I agree.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Okay.
So good. That's good. 2 minutes,
Sorry.
being ahead of schedule.
You could elaborate a little. We will have to decide, so we have the new wage rates and that we advertised a range, $26 to 32 something or other. So I have had a brief discussion with the candidate about potential wage rate. They're gonna present something to me, and then we can ultimately decide what we want to offer them based upon their level of experience. I can tell you that in the budget right now, I've budgeted in the midway of the range for FY17, so we're covered. That's all I got.
Thank you.
What was the number of hours that we settled on?
25.
25, that's what I thought. Okay.
We still have payroll in the budget for FY17 as well.
Say more?
Outsourcing payroll
Okay.
is still included in the FY17
Okay, but if we
budget.
didn't outsource payroll, we'd have to increase that number of hours?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. And we'd be looking back up at 32, right?
yes.
Okay.
Is that a yes, or is that potentially?
I think there's, depending on the candidate, without,
I think it's a possibility.
it's a possibility. No matter what candidate we bring forward, they're gonna require an amount of training. I imagine a period of time where our interim town accountant is still working and they are helping to get this person acclimated to the job. And until they're in the job and we know what their capabilities are within that time frame, it's hard to assess whether or not they would be able to handle that kind of workload in the same pace. It's possible, yes,
Okay.
but I don't know until they're in that spot.
Okay.
Okay, we can do our number 5, conduct fuel storage hearing for Southwick's Wild Animal Farm.
Let's see. I move to open the public hearing for Southwick Wild Animal Farms fuel storage. Do we have a? Okay.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, where is it, Wayne?
Number 5.
well, I'm colorblind too, so red wouldn't have helped. Okay, all right. The Board of Selectmen hereby give notice that it will hold a public hearing May 2nd, 2016, at 6:45 PM in the Town Hall Upper Meeting Room, 20 Main Street, Mendon, to consider the application for a new license to store flammables/combustibles by Justine and Peter Brewer, 5 Southwick Street, Mendon, Mass., under Mass General Law, Chapter 148, Section 13. All interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard.
Okay. Sir, are you here for this topic? All right, would you mind joining us? If you want to just give us your name and...
Yeah. My name is Chris Haig. I am the branch manager for Osman Propane out of Northbridge, and I'm representing the company regarding the additional fuel storage we're going to put on the zoo.
Sure. So if you want to just run through, you know, what's the additional storage and...
This is a list of the tanks that we presently have at the facility.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You're a good customer, huh?
Yeah. They've been a customer since the 1960s, so when they opened the zoo, we were supplying propane for them. We've been supplying propane for them since the 1960s. The top one is the additional tanks that we just recently added, the 4 1,000-gallon underground tanks. And they were and for the purpose of the new restaurant building that they're in. You're probably familiar with that already, that they are in construction right now. So that's what they're required for us to supply them in order to give them the fuel they're going to need to operate that restaurant. And it also, we tied it into the gift shop, the Purple Peacock gift shop too, so it supplies propane for both those buildings.
So this is actually new to me, so, because I don't recall us having to vote on something like this in the previous couple of years. So, what is it we're actually being asked to, well, once we come back out of the hearing, what are we actually being asked to vote on? I mean, it sounds like they're in the middle of construction already, right? You've got the
Correct.
tanks in the ground?
Correct. Yeah, we put them back in a few months ago. This hearing was initially supposed to be in March, and it got changed twice, so.
I see, okay. And I'm not sure what the.
I mean, really, it's just,
Well, we're just adding the additional, we wanted to notify the town that we were gonna add this substantial amount of additional propane to the facility.
Right.
And
Diane?
There's an existing fuel storage license, but it doesn't include the propane necessary for the zoo, and it pushes them over the requirement where they need a license for X amount of tanks. Isn't that correct? That once you're at a certain amount, you need to?
Yeah, every town's a little different, but it depends on the amount of storage you have on a facility. I mean, everything was approved, we properly permitted everything, both the fire inspector and gas inspector were approved.
And they have a temporary permit with the fire department, so this is, pending your approval. It will, if you sign it, then it will go to the town clerk, and then she issues the actual permit, storage permit.
Got it. I'm just trying to work out what the logical basis it would be that a Board of Selectmen would deny such a thing.
Could be it could be any certain circumstance that, I don't think there's any circumstance in this case
you're
that
right,
we
yeah,
would
and
say,
it's
oh,
a-
no, but,
Right, if for instance, I know that you have to have stanchions in front of the tank, so someone can't drive into it. So if they hadn't done that, and the building department said, look, they're not meeting that requirement, then when you hear that, then you say, well,
But
we're
our
not gonna
inspectors,
approve it.
our inspectors are
Right.
taking care of that. I
Right.
mean,
I think I hear what Selectman Schofield's concern is, and really what I heard you say, Diane, is that they've exceeded the threshold of fuel being stored at that facility to the point where now they have to apply for a license.
Correct.
That's what I heard you say.
Correct.
So if this board had any concerns whatsoever of the amount of fuel being stored at that facility, for whatever reason that may be,
Yeah.
we could deny that.
Right.
But what I also heard is that the tanks are already in the ground.
You're right.
So it sounds like the cart was taken before the horse, in a way. Because if we denied this, technically you'd have to pull them out of the ground.
That's correct.
Well, you wouldn't fill them either. They couldn't
Well,
be
we could
filled.
just leave them there. We would just,
Leave 'em there.
we would leave them empty, right?
All right, I just wanted to make sure, because I'm grappling with the same thing as
Sure.
Selectman Schofield here is, what's our responsibility with respect to that? And the question that I think at that point is, would we have any concerns as a board, not knowing anything about this, of the amount of fuel being stored at the facility? And then I would have to rely on public safety and,
Tell us, yeah.
and the building inspector to ensure that they're well within compliance, which it sounds like they are, or if we should have any concerns with that amount of fuel being stored at the facility.
Yeah, both inspectors signed off on it back in a few months ago.
Yeah, and
so-
we do have a stipulation of positive routing slips on the final motion, so that's, yeah. So is it that they're over a threshold and now need a license, or over a threshold and now need a new license?
Well, I think it's because now it's all combined into one. Before, it was just separate, because it
Well,
was
we
at
have
different
separate,
locations
we
at
have
the
tanks
zoo.
separate, on a location, there's a number of tanks, as you can see there, that are located all over the zoo.
Right.
Depending on the buildings, and every time they've added a building, we've added tanks, to supply them with this, for heat or hot water or cooking, whatever they're gonna need. So what we've done is they put this building on, they came to us and said, this is what we're gonna need to, make this building work, and, we're gonna need you to, take care of it, so that's what we did. We installed the tanks.
Okay, and then you being an expert in, obviously, these kind of fuel systems, knew that that meant that something different had to happen here
Correct.
licensing-wise?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
But it's not all stored in one area. It's scattered throughout the whole complex.
I
I think I'd
understand.
probably be more concerned if I had 10,000 gallons. sitting
In
there.
one spot, right.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So,
And you'd also be more concerned if you didn't have an absolutely awesome owner of this business that's been phenomenal
correct.
throughout the years, and it's just been great for the community, so. Okay, I think I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry to be a pain.
Oh, no problem. I do have a check for Diane for all the,
You want to see if anybody else has a comment?
Is there any other questions or comments from the audience on this?
Okay, then I move to close the public hearing for Southwick Wild Animal Farms fuel storage.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to issue a fuel storage permit as requested to Southwick Wild Animal Farm, Inc., fuel storage pending return of positive routing slips.
Second.
Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Oh, I like it when we get checks.
Good
Good night,
night.
thank you.
We got 6 minutes.
Yes, we do.
Everything's a hearing.
About the authorization of the annual report, number 9.
Oh, Alan's here, yep.
Yeah, oh, Alan's here, okay. Consider authorizing chairman to sign annual report for MS4 permit.
I move to authorize Chairman Reel to sign the annual report for the municipal separate stormwater systems MS4 permit.
Second.
I see why
Discussion.
they call it MS4 now. SSSS, yeah, I got it. Okay, well, I want to know what it is. I have no idea what it is.
Alan, do you want to come up?
That's just a permit that we do every year for the state, and it just specifies what's stored down at the highway department and different facilities.
What's
do it
the it
every
that's
year.
stored?
Well,
What's
like we
stored?
have ice band, we have that liquid that we put on the road,
Oh, I see, I understand.
stuff like that.
Stuff that can actually run off into the storm,
Right.
is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Got it. And this is just something we do every year?
It's the same thing
I don't
every
remember this
single year.
last year.
Yeah, you
I don't either.
No, I'm sure we did, but I just don't remember it, that's all. Hey, I don't remember what happened yesterday, so.
More formality.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Alan.
Thanks.
Did that one.
Didn't take much time.
Could you expand on your answer?
It took me longer to figure out what MS4 was.
I know, yeah, exactly.
I had to Google it.
It's anything more to,
I think everything else is gonna take a little more time than
you know.
4 minutes.
Well, if I may, on the agenda, it says the Irons Way for 7 o'clock, but on the public hearing notice, it says 7:15.
Don't tell me that.
So you may need to.
So
Really?
we have a little more
Nice in the
time.
paper?
Split the difference.
That would be nice.
Oh, yeah. It says 7:15 in the paper.
Okay, so what is
Got
that?
messed up on the agenda.
Okay, so that means we have to
No,
go
it's
by
not a,
this.
7:15,
it's not a
yeah.
town.
Okay, but didn't we have something else supposed, there's something else in here for 7:15?
It's a
Yeah.
proposal of town owned land, but that
It's
would
not a,
move.
yeah.
Okay, well then if that's true, then we can start that one now, because we got 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, if we had the,
We don't have the people here for that.
I don't know.
Well, I see Joe here.
Oh,
I assume you're here for this, right, Joe?
I'm here for the plot book, is it town land?
Yes, yeah.
all right. Why don't you come up?
We're gonna start with you. I know we're scheduled for 7:15, but I think that, are you expecting any more
Yes,
people
I was expecting my client, and he'll be here at 7.
at 7 o'clock?
Okay, so we can't do
Okay.
that. That's fine, yeah.
Why don't we go to number
Second.
12? Number 12?
12, okay.
Consider supporting photovoltaic and 16 Cape Road warrant articles.
Oh, okay, that's, okay, so those are the two that, that are citizen petitions.
I don't know how we want to.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why do we have to vote to support or not support those as a board?
I don't think we have to.
You're shaking your head as if you don't.
Yeah, I mean, when, so it's actually interesting. I wonder who's gonna make the, who's gonna stand up and make the motions for these? Did the citizens who made the, who came, did they,
It's true.
and interestingly enough, I did talk to the woman who sent us the email about wanting to, saying she couldn't come, and I don't think they know who's gonna put forward the motions, but
I don't think I'm comfortable supporting or not supporting either one of those yet. I'm not,
that's the way I feel about it too. I'm
I don't
very
have all the
lukewarm on both of
information.
them. I'm very lukewarm on both of them, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I'm in the same mindset, so.
So to me, I'd prefer us, well, I think we gotta get, I think, Kimberly, we probably should make sure that someone,
I'll check.
a representative of both of those groups, understand that they have to come and make a motion.
I'll make sure we have somebody for each article tomorrow.
Yeah, and then that will generate debate, and to be honest with you, I'd prefer to decide then, because I haven't been able to make up my mind yet.
Yeah, especially the 16 Cape Road, I have no information on that at this point, so.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't understand how such a thing came through by a citizen's petition. That's, just seems so odd. That a request by an individual business owner to change the zoning on property he or she owns comes to us by way of citizen's petition. That just does not make sense to me.
Just question on how this came up on the warrant, I mean, on the agenda.
Because one of you said at the last meeting that you should discuss whether you are planning to support it or not on town meeting floor.
Okay.
So he said one thing the other day, and now we're saying another thing.
A different day.
It's raining tonight.
All right, so.
You thought we'd
done
know
with that.
better by now.
I know the planning board has to make their recommendation, and Margaret
I would
let
think
me
they
know
would.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would think they would.
Mr. Chairman, with the moderator, ahead of time, find out about that, we were gonna make the motion. And I know he's already had a discussion with me about plans for the articles and who's gonna.
I mean, it's on the warrant for,
No, I think he does that just to try to make the meeting move more smoothly, but I don't think he has to.
Right.
To do that?
I'm sure he doesn't have to. I'm just guessing that he did.
Yeah.
Or he's gonna.
Yeah.
it's on there as a BOS article though, right?
No, it
we
isn't. It's
changed
on
Oh, we
this.
changed it,
Yeah,
okay.
'cause I talked to Margaret and
Oh,
she
good, okay.
suggested.
So this
we
is
did it that way.
petition, yeah.
And Brandon suggested that as well.
Absolutely.
Town council.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right,
But I think the point I just want to leave this conversation with is that I think it's our duty and responsibility to guide citizens who take the time to do this on what they have to do to execute, because it's not always simple, right? It's sometimes a little more complicated.
right. All right,
If either one of them needs any help drafting a motion or discussion, I'd be glad to help them if they wanted to call me, give them that, or you can do it yourself, that's whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay. Well, we could start on the town on land. You want to come up? We have some time.
Mr. Chairman, if you could just advise the, this next discussion that we might have to break at 7:15
Yeah.
for a public
And then
hearing.
reconvene,
And then
yeah.
Yeah, we may have to take a break depending how long it goes, because we have a scheduled public hearing at 7:15, so,
Like 3 minutes.
okay.
Really? Okay, good.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Joe Antonellis. I'm an attorney in my office in Milford. With me is Kevin Meehan, a gentleman I think you all know. What I'm about to pass out are a proposal for a request for proposal. And I've made a copy for each of the board members and one, obviously, for the administrator and for your staff. The impetus for tonight's meeting comes from the answering of questions on a repeated basis by my client as to what do you think is going to happen with the land on Route 16 that the town owns? Is there ever going to be any development? Do you have any ideas for it? So on and so forth. And obviously, this is a unique parcel of property because it is comprised of a significant area that is subject to a conservation restriction that limits the development of the property. And as you know, the zoning classification here in Mendon is very rigid, and there is not a lot of opportunity as a matter of right to develop a parcel of property. My client, who I think you know has some significant interest in development and some creativity along those lines, has looked at the property and thought very hard that this could be perhaps a showcase piece for the town of Mendon if it was done in the appropriate way. Now, we're not assuming for 1 second that, one, that anybody is going to agree to sell it, or two, that it's what you wanted. But we found over the years that most things start because someone gets the strength to make a suggestion and come forward. So Kevin asked me to pursue some research on what a request for a proposal would look like for the development of a parcel of property. On his behalf, I did some research in a variety of towns, and my office is town council in Holliston, and while I'm not primarily involved with it, my partner is, and I went to him, and I went to some other people who I know as town council. And what I've just passed out to you, I think, is a fairly comprehensive request for proposal, one that I believe that if the town had interest in selling the property, that you could use this as a boilerplate to get a lot of the information you need and to get it in the appropriate way. I have been involved in a purchase of property from the town recently, which is the farm on Quistit Road. I represented the purchaser of that property and responded to an RFP that was comprehensive for that particular development. But the one that you have in front of you, I think you'll find that it has some significant additions to it, which would put a higher burden on anyone seeking to purchase the property. In that case where we had the Quistit Road property, you had a limited use that was there. That was part of the RFP, that it had to be used, had to use for farm purposes. But what we've done is we've tried to provide you with a much broader RFP that will allow you, we hope, to set the scope for moving forward for the sale of that property.
So, Mr. Antelos, I just want to be clear, because I'm just a little confused. So, it sounds like what you're saying is that you have, that, Mr. Meehan, you may have a plan of thought as to how we could creatively use that property, and that in order to do it, it would involve needing to probably sell it in some manner, and to sell it in the way that best protects the town. You're saying that Board of Selectmen, we actually have like an RFP approach that you might be able to take if you wanted to do it.
Correct.
That's what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah, basically, the town's gone out to RFP with this property on several occasions
Yeah,
already.
yes, yeah.
And had nothing successful come back.
Right.
I feel that, first of all, the purchase price that they put in was too high for the land, having no utilities and having the restrictions that it has on it. And there wasn't any allowance in there to allow someone to try to remove those restrictions or to change them. And then the RFP never said to the town, look, we'll start this project in this amount of time, and we'll finish it in this amount of time, and this is the tax revenue that it'll bring into the town.
Right.
And so this asks for all that information. It asks when it'll be started, when it'll be finished, how much tax revenue are you gonna bring in, how many square feet are you gonna build, what are the costs to build that, what do you have for plans that you can show us? Have you done a project like this before? Can you actually sustain and do it? It asks a lot more questions that other towns, such as Newton and Wellesley and stuff, are asking people when they come into them.
Gotcha.
So that the town truly knows when they go forward with something, that something's gonna be done, and are you gonna end up with $50,000 a year in tax revenue, or $1,050,000 a year in tax revenue? And then, what is the cost on that to the town? Is it added police and fire and DPW? What does it cost?
Right.
And so, whoever brings in a proposal or sends in a proposal to you has to figure that all out. They've got to get with an architect and an engineer and someone in town government and say, this is what a development like this adds to the cost of the infrastructure to the town itself.
Right.
And it asks all those questions in here,
Yeah.
unlike previous RFPs.
So could we assume that, that your intention then would be, if we, let's say we looked at it, we said, okay, that's good, let's give this a try again, and we kind of like this RFP approach, and let's say we made a few tweaks and put it out, I presume that you would be responding to it yourself?
I would definitely look to respond, and I think the way that it's written, when you dig into it, that you may find that there'll be more reasons for others to respond. So you may get a collective, someone might come in and say they want to put a power plant there, and we'll pay you $5 million a year in taxes. I don't know what'll come of it, but it says you can reject or accept anything that you want to do. It doesn't make any difference.
So not to take anything away from previous boards where we tried to monetize the Taft Orchard property, I think it's certainly true to say that we did not have business input into that RFP process that we would be getting in this particular case. I certainly appreciate the effort and what you put here. I think that sounds like a good idea to me. But now, what kinds of things does it involve? Was the presumption in the RFP that we only be monetizing just the commercial piece, or would there be also the opportunity for them to recommend, because obviously we haven't read it, we just got it, but recommend and maybe even rezone something that's already there?
This
You understand what I'm
basically
saying?
says, regardless of the zoning, don't make any assumptions,
Propose something and let's see what we can do.
and you throw it out to us, and we're not saying that we'll do it as the town, we're saying, tell us what you'd like to do, and we can rezone it.
Yes, I put in,
Possible to go
I
before town meeting and maybe get something changed.
put statements in there that that some form of development may require the enactment of different zoning bylaws. And in fact, I put in that I think that one of the things that you should evaluate if someone brings in a proposal is a proposed zoning bylaw or overlay, whatever it may be for that parcel. I also put in a reference to the Massachusetts Constitution, Article 97, because that property, portion of the property is acquired with preservation funds, which requires special attention. If in fact it were to be used, there's a whole separate process for that. So anyone in a sophisticated area would go out and look and see what they need to do. We know what to do, because we've looked at it.
Other RFPs have gone out for roughly 30 acres of land. This includes the whole 77 acres, minus the town is to retain the property that the solar field is going on. But it says that the developer would have the right, if applicable, to be able to move the driveway in or out of there. Right now, it's kind of going through the middle of that lot, and that lot could be developable if someone took the time and spent the money to blast the ledge and put it along the edge of the property, which would make the whole piece of property more valuable. But that's stuff that you guys can read through. It's just stuff that Joe and I thought out when we looked at the property and try to put into an RFP to make it make more sense.
I've saved the document in Word format, so to the extent that you wanted to
Oh,
forward it.
I would love to.
You wanted
If
to forward it to town
yeah.
council, I can forward it, I'll save and send it to Diane, and she can distribute it as she please. Obviously, it's a public document, so it can be disseminated anyway. I've taken pieces of it from other towns, that's what we're good at, and that'll give you the opportunity to wordsmith it.
Great.
I think what's happened, just to throw this out to you, is I think that when the town bought the property, for what it was, they overpaid at the time.
You think?
It's my own personal feelings.
I would agree with you.
And I think that there's a reluctance. The RFPs have always gone out for that amount of money, at a minimum, and nothing's really come back on them. And I don't think it matters where you start. I think it matters where you end up.
Yeah.
And what could happen is the town as a whole could sit on it, and I know we gotta go in 2 minutes here, for another 2 years or another 22 years, and no income comes in. But if a plan came in and it was substantial to add to the tax base of the town, and you looked at it over the next 10-year period, or 5-year period, or 7-year period, I think that that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
If you don't get it up front, but you get it in your first year of taxes, I think you have to take everything into consideration at
Without a
that
doubt.
point.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, we've heard this story before, right? In Mendon, we have 88% of our tax base comes from residential and only 12 from commercial.
Right.
That balance has got to change if we want our taxes to stay down.
Right.
Absolutely got to change. So, so the only other thing I'd say, and yes, please send it over. I'd love to be able to mark it up as I'm doing electronically. But I think there's a lot of emotion attached to some of the I mean, you know that there were it was bought with 3 buckets of money that were all meant for different things, right? So there's a municipal piece, and there's a commercial piece, and then there's the open space piece, right? So there's lots of moving parts there that'll be a little bit difficult, but I totally would be interested in discussing.
So a developer's gotta come to you, and they've gotta lay it out to you and say, look, this is open space, and this is this, and this is this. Maybe some things get moved around. It's very hard to develop that space, keeping 200 feet of open space off of Route 16.
Right.
It's a huge challenge.
Right.
Yeah, we've talked about before, what it would take, and if we can do, to move the open space to the back. Right? So I think that's some of the kind of creative thinking I think we got to talk about. So, look, I think this is great. I
Yeah,
can't wait to
no,
read
I-
it.
Start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely
definitely
appreciate it.
pulling this together and,
Welcome.
sort of take a look at it. And,
Thank you.
I'm of the opinion that we have to do something with those parcels of land at some point. So
Yeah,
this
we gotta
is-
monetize it.
Maybe
We gotta
this
do
just motivates the effort to
Sure.
start looking at it again. So,
Thank you
Well,
very
thank
much.
you.
Absolutely.
you.
Thank
And
you.
I'll send it over tomorrow to Diane. I have her email. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, public hearing to consider layout. Wait a minute. Go back. 7 o'clock. Conduct
7
hearing
o'clock,
to
all right.
consider laying out and accepting proposed Irons Way.
I moved to open the public hearing to consider laying out and accepting the proposed Irons Way. I'm adding the article right in
Second.
here.
Okay.
Those in
You
favor?
want to read the thing?
I do that after.
Oh, well, it's usually part of discussion, but all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, so that's, we're on discussion now.
Okay.
Okay, so, let's see, which one, which one are we on now? There we go. I'm challenged with my reading skills. In conformity with the requirements of Mass General Law, Chapter 82, Section 22, the Board of Selectmen hereby gives notice that it will hold a public hearing May 2nd, 2016, at 7:15 PM in the Town Hall Upper Meeting Room, 20 Main Street, Mendon, to consider laying out and accepting the proposed Irons Way, Mendon, Mass. All interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard.
Okay, so we have, what's the document here?
Oh, that's what that's for. That's handy. So I thought this existed already, we're just, it's not to be constructed.
It is, yeah.
It's already built.
Do you need to see this all?
There's 2 copies
Yeah.
you can pass.
Oh, there is, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, here comes the water.
You, water's over as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, to me, the only thing that, the thing that I'd want to know is like, why wouldn't we do this? I don't, I'm not sure what the negative side to do it would be.
I don't know, Alan, have you reviewed this yet? Okay.
Well, I think the concerns that I have, and I can sympathize with the petitioner on this, because I live on a private way as well, is that we have many private ways in our community, and that if we start accepting private ways, this private way as a town-owned road, which we have to maintain, et cetera, then we're gonna have to go through that same process, or potentially go through that same process with all the other private ways within our community. And I don't know what the impact is financially for the maintenance of the road, et cetera.
So if we do this, Alan will have to plow it?
This will be a town of, well, not only plow it, maintain it.
It's just like any other subdivision.
That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. I missed that part. How many houses are down there? Just the one?
2.
No, this,
There are actually 3
Three.
properties that can pass on that road.
Do you mind coming up to the mic, just so? Thank you.
There are 3 properties that have the right to pass. So-
The current structures?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have an idea of how many private ways in town are similar to this one? I mean, are there a lot of, like, I know, Chris, you said you live on one.
I do.
But are there a lot of them that we could potentially opening ourselves up to? Can you use the mic when you come up?
We got a no? He said no?
You said no.
4?
You mean 4 that are comparable? Or just 4 private ways?
There's 4 private ways. You got A-Rod Road, Harrington. Actually, there's more than that. A Rod Road, Harrington, Kinsley Lane, Hill Street, Kim's Way,
Strawberry,
where,
Strawberry Lane,
we're gonna, that's.
it's still private, right?
Right now it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I must have missed something, because I thought the point here was to honor people of the name Irons that served the community of Mendon in the past. I thought that was the point.
No, not necessarily. When I was here in February, I wanted to get a name for it so that I could get an article that referenced the name. And so I was just pointing out why I was choosing that name.
Okay.
And I thought acceptance from the Board of Selectmen on February 1st, that was fine to call it that name.
Is it constructed in compliance with the subdivision requirements?
The planning board has accepted it.
No, that's not my question. My question is the road meet the standards of a subdivision road? Meaning the width, the material, the...
No, I have waivers
Okay.
that the planning board has created
Yeah,
and accepted.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that question is that if we were to treat it as a subdivision, that, and we have to maintain it as a town, then we should be compliant with subdivision requirements, in my opinion, but.
But I thought the planning board had the option to make waivers. They do it with all subdivisions.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Well, okay. I think it might have helped if you maybe had gone to the public hearing for the planning board.
Yeah.
So so help me understand, what's your objective in this initiative? If we can already call it Irons Way, what's the point?
What my request is for the town of Mendon to take the ownership and the maintenance of it. So it becomes a public way, just like any other subdivision roadway. Like Cobbler's Knoll that will be up shortly, has Puffer Drive and several other roads.
So do you already own all this property?
I own Lot 1, including the road. That's a subdivision that was created in 1991, so it went through the planning board process then. And then I approached the town a year and a half ago and explained a dilemma I had trying to sell my house. And so this is what they recommended. So I hired an engineer, which is what they recommended. I hired a lawyer. And I went back through the planning board process to get modifications to this design. And then there were certain requirements that they had of me to do an addition, which I said one of the major ones was to get a pole relocated. And then I had to fill the cracks, I had to remove the stumps, push back the rocks, clean up the brush. So all of that's been done. And now I'm at the point where, the town engineer went out, they inspected it, so that they saw I did everything the planning board asked me to do on this last round.
Okay, so the other two, well, this is one other house there now.
Yes, the Spindels, who are here, and I think Pam's here. She is in a house that has a right to use it, but doesn't really, I don't think, need to use it at this point because she has a driveway on Providence Street. The Spindels are landlocked and have been since Roy acquired that property in 1977. So he had a right of way, an easement over that property. And then the property was created, broken off in this subdivision, a one-lot subdivision was created. And at the time the one-lot subdivision was created, the planning board placed a covenant on that lot. Since then, the Spindels have been given a business license to run a large family daycare, which adds liability to that roadway, to me, as the owner of that roadway who has a covenant from Mendon to maintain that roadway. So to me, that's overusing or overburdening an easement, and that's not how it was intended. And I thought that the best approach for all parties involved, so that I didn't take any rights away from any of the abutters, was to approach the town and ask them for advice. And this is the advice, is to create a public way, and then there wouldn't be this burden on just my lot that I'm having trouble getting anybody to buy that burden.
And the burden that you're referring to is maintaining that road.
Maintaining the road with the traffic level that's on it. Both.
Liability.
Both, the liability, the maintenance is minimal. That road was built very well. It's 20 years old right now. It's in really good shape. The drainage is excellent. It's actually helping Providence Street, which is the point of view that the planning board took. If you read the document the planning board created, you'd see their point of view and why they got me to this point.
Alan, is this, are private ways listed on our road study? They're not? Okay, so going back to the two other properties, right? So, did you originally own those properties?
Well, my parents did. Not, I didn't originally own them. I had owned the property that the Spindels are on at one point.
And did the road exist then?
It was created when that house was built.
Okay, so when you sold that house to the Spindels, that road existed, and you were under this problem at that point?
Not the road that you're seeing on that design. All that existed was a right-of-way.
Driveway.
Correct.
A driveway, and then you created a second lot for the property that you're in right now.
My parents created a second lot 20 years later, and in the creation of that second lot, the planning board required this 45-foot roadway with a certain base and a certain width and a cul-de-sac, et cetera. And all that was done with the drains, et cetera.
Okay, so just on a high level, if I just summarize the issue as I think I'm hearing it, is that due to the kind of oddball, maybe that's not the word I should use, but the strange history of this grouping of properties, a situation has arisen where one house owns the burden of the road,
Right.
and that whether it causes you difficulty in selling it, or unduly burdens you continuing to own it, either way, you're seeking relief from that. That's the bottom line.
That's right.
Okay, all right, I get it.
So Alan, in terms of condition of what you've looked at this road, is there anything that concerns you that you'd need to address right off the bat if this was accepted?
Actually, it was pretty good.
Okay.
Now, the letter that you sent to abutters invited people to give comments to Alan. I don't know what a laying out of the roadway is. And so when I got the letter as an abutter, that's what it said. So I was kind of curious if there was any comments or feedback that you received, Alan, from any of the people that received the notice. Thank you.
Again, I look at this with a different lens than you guys, because I actually live on a private way, and I would love to have the town take over my road. But I have to also look at it as a selectman, and I look at it upon as a private way is a right to pass. All right, so, in my case, at my property, I would have to either create an association or choose to maintain the road myself. That's in the same with Kingsley Lane. I believe it's an association that takes care of Kingsley Lane and some of the other private ways along the way and within our town. All right, that's how they're maintained. You don't maintain Kingsley, correct?
No, they paid quite a while ago.
That's right. Right, so it's an association that helps maintain the quality of the road. I'm in the same challenge, but now I have to put myself into the responsibilities of the town. If we take on this road, in my opinion, then we're gonna be forced to take on,
I don't
or
agree.
potentially take on, excuse me. Let me finish my statement, please. Take on other roads, or be petitioned by other people in the community we're working on a complete streets project right now. This adds on to that. This right here, I don't know what it's, how the road's done. I'm sure you did it right. Please, I'm not, disputing that you didn't do things correctly or anything like that. But it's gonna come to a point where we're gonna have another road that we have to maintain, in town, et cetera. I'm just trying to look at the big picture. I haven't said that I'm not opposed or for this. I'm trying to discern, what the impact of this decision is going forward with all the other roads that we have in the town.
I don't believe,
Private ways.
excuse me, but I don't believe it sets a precedence, which I think is what you're implying. That just because you accept this subdivision's road, like you're gonna accept Cobbler's Knoll subdivision roads or Strawberry Lane subdivision roads, that you're setting a precedence for every private way, no matter what condition it's in. I thought that's why you had a planning board that would, ensure that these roads were built within a certain rule or guideline, regulations. And if they chose to give waivers to any of those, they would, which they do to most.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure how it is you know how I look at it, because I don't even know how I look at it yet.
No, I'm just saying. I didn't
But-
say you. I wasn't speculating anything. I'm just saying.
I don't know, I'm not sure I have an opinion yet, but one thing that's bothered me a little bit is how we can call this a subdivision. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm challenging.
To me,
I'm gonna be honest with
to me, this is no more a subdivision than the group of houses that are off your private way. I mean, we could turn around and call that a subdivision, then Mr. Burke would be right. And again, I'm not saying he's right or I have an opinion yet, but I'm just trying to.
Okay,
work-
yeah,
I'm
which
just
I
trying to fight through
understand,
it.
but according to the planning board, what they said to me is that one-lot subdivisions are no longer allowed. So apparently, at the time this was created, that was allowed. It's a one-lot subdivision.
Oh, so this fits some specific definition as a subdivision?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's specific information. So I guess the question is, on these other ways that we're talking about, are those legally subdivisions or not? Because if they are, well, then it does set a precedence. If they're not, then it doesn't set a precedent.
It's true.
I don't know the answer to that.
Neither do I.
Well, I wouldn't think Kinsley Lane is a one-lot subdivision or even considered a subdivision.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. It's you, on this land, this driveway, it's been, the way it was set up, there are two houses that are on it. There's no way that she can sell the property if she doesn't have it as a road. And I believe she's been working for a year and a half with the planning board and going out and doing everything that they've asked her to do to be able to get it accepted. So here she is coming to this meeting, saying, I've done everything, I've spent all the money, I've done all the work, and I got the variances from the planning board, and she's here presenting the case after all this time, and I think it would be very frustrating to have to deal with it now.
Plus the
She's
20
done-
years,
She's
yeah.
done everything that was asked of her.
Plus the 20 years I've already taken care of it. And I've paid over $100,000 in real estate taxes to the town of Mendon with absolutely no children in the school system. And the only piece of my road that the town takes care of is emptying the 2 drains at the end of the street, which also service Providence Road. And I'm gonna be 63 and I'm trying to retire and sell my house and downsize.
Trust me, I sympathize with you. Don't
I know,
misconstrue
but
what I'm saying.
I
I experience everything that you go through on a daily basis, and I've been in my property for 23 years, and the money that I've put into my road is staggering. So I'm with you 100%, and I sit
Right.
there and scratch my head all the time wondering what I can do about it.
Right.
I'm with you. It's a challenge.
So, do you want to say something?
I was just going to say, I think, in the past, that these types of issues have come up, and past boards were quick to just say, okay, yes, and then there's repercussions for future boards, and I think we just want to be really cautious. I don't think any of us are saying right now, no, we don't want to do this. I think we're just really asking all the questions and make sure that the decision we're going to make is not going to affect us down the road.
Which is the point of the hearing.
Which is great, and I wish if I had a crystal ball, things might be different at this point, and I might not be the owner of it. And, you know, but I've learned things along the way about the liability. You know, just like when the Spindels were given the license for the daycare, that probably would have been a town clerk that did that. It didn't go through a variance, it didn't go through a special permit, whereas if they tried to do that today, it would have to. So things do change. You know, and whoever gave them the license to do that probably didn't realize that they were overusing an easement. You know, you have an address, a mailing address on Providence Street, and you have a tax address of Inman Hill Road, and it's landlocked. And you look at the abutters, okay, that landlocked them, where were the police then? You know, where was the zoning enforcer?
Oh, that's a whole other story. We can't get,
Exactly.
we can't get
And
into
I
that.
realize that, and I know that that's outside the scope.
Yeah.
But all I
But that's
just, let
being
me,
addressed, just so you know. Yeah.
but let me get on the warrant and let the town decide.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so the only other thing I wanted to say is just a little bit more on what Selectman Reel was saying, is that we always look at the downstream impacts, particularly financial impacts of whatever decision we make. So that's the only reason we're asking the question, so.
And I can tell you that I did speak with Jean, and there was a question about whether the town would do an easement versus a deed. And she said she's never heard of them taking a private road using an easement, that they've always taken the land. And I asked, you know, would it change my tax bill? And she said, no, it wouldn't. So I'd essentially be paying the same taxes, or whoever owns my property, with or without my road. My road totals about a half an acre.
I would be less concerned with the revenue side than the expense side. I think that's more the thing that I think I'd be concerned with, but, yeah, okay.
Mike, did you have a question?
Just sitting here listening, but it sounds to me that you don't have to worry about setting precedent because it's grandfathered. I mean, they don't give one lot subdivisions anymore.
Right.
And if they went to the planning board and said they, complied with everything, and then the highway surveyor has said that it's no big deal for him to just plow that one little, to do that, then there isn't any precedent to be set. It's just kind of buttoning it up. It's grandfathered, no more is gonna come like it. I just don't see why it, if the planning board has given their blessing and the highway surveyor's given their blessing. then why not?
Just remember, it's beyond plowing. It's beyond plowing.
I understand that.
Okay.
I'm just saying that the concern, I think it's a valid concern about not to do something that's, gonna, create other problems, but if they're not giving them out anymore, and if it's something they used to do, they won't do anymore, and the planning board has said that they've done diligence and done everything that they need to do to make it its ability to be accepted, and we accept all the other subdivisions, how could we not accept it? And I'm just throwing that out as a citizen just listening.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to add that the safety officer was at the public hearing in February of 2015, and he didn't see an issue with the cul-de-sac, because that was, one of the reasons why they asked me to push the rocks back as far as I could, so that an emergency vehicle could easily make the swipe, or at least do a 3-point. And it's like an airport up there. I know it's not, what the guidelines say today, whatever that is, if it's 90 or 100 and something, it's probably more like 60, but you can still turn a vehicle in it. The minibus turns around in it, the school minibus.
Okay.
All right. So I just want to make one more statement. So to me, the way, and I don't mean this to be inflammatory at all, but the reality is that the decision we'd make, if we make an affirmative decision on this, right? What we're deciding to do is to no gain to the town, provide relief to a particular citizen in a particular situation that they've got, right? Because the reality is that while it might not cost us much, and it might not cost us anything, it's not gonna cost us less. There's only risk to cost us more, right? So to agree to say yes creates what I think you would interpret as fairness, given the situation you're in.
Yes. Just let me get on the warrant.
Okay. I'm good. I have no questions.
Okay, any further comments, questions? No?
All right, I gotta read again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, Diane. I move to close the public hearing to consider laying out and accepting the proposed Irons Way.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, we're not quite done.
Oh,
I move to lay out and accept the proposed Irons Way as described by Andrews Surveying and Engineering, Inc. on road acceptance plans of Irons Way in Mendon, Mass., owned by Mary Irons, dated March 16th, 2016.
Second.
Discussion,
No, I'm good, okay. All right, so, yeah, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah, I think that for me personally, I'm just gonna have to investigate it more, to be honest with you, before I could vote favorable on this.
You gonna call for a vote?
yeah, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
You got it.
so I can get on the warrant?
Yeah.
On the next warrant?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, we've got that.
Do we have any more hearings today?
We do. 7:45, so we have 3 minutes.
Oh, good, well, that's all right.
Do you want
At
to,
least
do
we didn't have to find filler
No,
time.
that was, could have been,
you want to sign the plans?
yeah.
We're waiting,
We have actually a few things to sign anyway.
yeah.
So you sign right on this?
Yep, there should be another.
And there's a document that you have there.
Which document?
There's,
This
in
here?
underneath.
in your folder, there's,
Okay, all
there's
right,
a
I'll be
bunch
right.
of
Do you want to
stuff.
sign
Let
with
me do
this
this
or that?
I thought we were supposed to sign with this. I thought that was the idea.
Either way, if, do you have a permanent one too, that's
Well, I have a
better?
pen.
I'll use the,
It's an inky pen.
and where's the second? Who has the second plan?
Now, if Chris
It's on the
voted,
floor.
if Chris voted against, he doesn't have to sign, does he? We only need
It
two of
pa-
us.
Well,
I guess
it's
it's
up
up
to
to
Chris,
you.
I mean, it passed. It didn't pass unanimously, did it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to do some more investigation.
Grab the other one on the floor, Chris. That can be signed too.
Good night.
No,
All right,
Good night.
Is that the second one? Yep. You know, we should just put them up there
Yeah.
and walked up.
not used to signing
Yeah.
bed sheets.
That's the biggest thing
This is
I
what-
think I've signed.
imagine if every paper had to be this big, it's
Oh, this
required
is,
by
this
law.
is, that's vellum, and this is not vellum.
I'm gonna
Oops, sorry.
I think that's a better idea. Okay.
See, see how much time we have on the tape?
Is there any more things for me to sign in your book?
I don't
Is
think
that
so.
MS4 permit?
Oh, yeah, that, let's see. Yeah, ready?
Right there.
Oh. I got another copy of that,
I think that one might be the next one. Yeah,
no,
it
this
is.
this is,
Yeah, for Haywood Circle.
oh, okay. All right. Got it. All right, we got the time.
Yep.
I move to open the public hearing to consider laying out and accepting Haywood Circle, Russell Court, Warfield Drive, and Puffer Drive.
second.
Discussion?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so I need the, you got Puffer's Way on here?
Yep.
The separate one?
No,
Or
it
is
should be in there.
I'm missing?
Here. Bubba's one.
Oh, yeah. My goodness. All right, in conformity with the requirements of Mass General Law, Chapter 82, Section 22, the Board of Selectmen hereby gives notice that will hold a public hearing May 2nd, 2016, at 7:45 PM in the Town Hall Upper Meeting Room, 20 Main Street, Mendon, to consider laying out and accepting Haywood Circle, Russell Court, Warfield Drive, and Puffer Drive in Mendon, Mass. All interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard. There you go.
Okay, come on up.
Hi, I'm Thomas Wickstrom from Whitensville. Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I'm here on behalf of the petitioner Cobbler's Knoll LLC. If there's any questions, I don't think there'll be many, but have any?
Let's see.
So,
Similar.
okay, but this one's different, this is different because this is your standard subdivisions, knew it in advance, long done.
Yep.
People built, new taxes coming in for it, yada, 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 right?
That's, yeah.
I mean,
It's all been inspected and, by all the engineers, and signed by the planning board.
I don't have any questions.
I don't either.
Running steps have been done.
I move to close the public hearing to consider laying out and accepting Haywood Circle.
Oh,
Russell
wait,
Co-
let me
okay.
just, is there any questions in the audience on this?
Yes, thank you for that. Okay.
What does that entail when it's accepted? I mean, do we get the services, the plowing and all of that?
Yes. Yep, it's just like any other road in
Just like
town.
any other road, right?
Mhm.
Alan, that means that 900,000 plus a year that we need goes up, right? All right.
Seems thrilled.
Can I go for it now? Yeah. Okay, great. I move to close the public hearing to consider laying out and accepting Haywood Circle, Russell Court, Warfield Drive, and Puffer Drive.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I move to lay out and accept Warfield Drive, Russell Court, Haywood Circle, and Puffer Drive as shown on roadway acceptance plan, Warfield Drive, Russell Court, Haywood Circle, and Puffer Drive in Mendon, Massachusetts, dated January 15, 2015, prepared by Outback Engineering.
Second.
Outback.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
You too.
Done?
All right, what's next, Mr. Reel?
There's nothing left.
Really, we got everything?
Let me just go through, just to double check.
I think you might be right.
I think we're done. Yep.
Yeah, because we decided we didn't want to do 12.
Yep.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever. I'll fill this out. Okay, I move to enter into executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A, Purpose 2, to conduct a strategy session in preparation for and contract negotiations with Town Administrator Kimberly Newman, and to conduct a strategy session in preparation for collective bargaining with the Highway Department Union, also under Purpose 3, to discuss strategy with respect to Showtime Entertainment litigation, as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the selectmen, and I so declare. We will reconvene in regular session, only to adjourn.
I gave you a choice. I didn't know which
We
one.
will reconvene in regular session,
Only to adjourn.
only to
We
adjourn.
don't have any more items, right?
Okay.
No.
I didn't know if you wanted to go into close.
Only to adjourn. Yep.
Roll call vote is needed.
Second,
Discussion?
Schofield, aye?
Okay.
Real aye. Thank you, everyone.
Let me, Schofield.
It's not so bad, 7:29.
We weren't supposed to start that till